He's a speaker, business coach, and a coach for speakers. He's done local workshops at UCF and Orlando College. As the speaker's coach, 2 of his students have reached Toastmasters World Championship of Public Speaking. Only 10 out of 30,000 make this championship. This morning, he will share with us some tips to prepare yourself for next month's International Speech Contest. Please welcome Toastmaster Tim Rickey with his speech, Speak Like a Champ.
Hit him with a headline. And then pause. Or you begin with a pause to draw them closer and closer and closer. Y'all looked at me and wondered, what's he going to say? He keeps just standing there. And then I hit you with a headline with the same statement. So you jump back a little bit. Then I pause again to let you sink in. And then I say, good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Now you're thinking, what's coming next? You see how that has importance in building up to delivering a powerful speech. And the judges say, that's a good one. You want to keep that in mind. It's very, very important. Be passionate about your speaking. Be so passionate they'll come and see you burn. And inspire. People say, are you a motivational speaker? No, I can't motivate you. I can inspire you to get yourself motivated, but I'm not a motivational speaker. See, if you inspire them right, they'll burn right with you. What a group that would be. Everybody's totally involved. And if you've ever watched Tony Robbins in action, you see that all the time. Preparation. Toss the script. You don't want to be sitting up there with a bunch of notes laying all over the place, because the more time you spend looking at your notes, the less time you can give to your audience what they want to hear or feel or see, because you're focusing in 2 different places. So know your speech. Can you over-rehearse a speech? This comes up all the time, because when you get into an emotional part of a speech, how do I duplicate that every time without acting? You don't act. You relive it. And we know when there's things in our lives that we do relive them. And we go through the same set of emotions and reactions that we did in the first place. Relive them, do not act them, because acting them will, your audience will absolutely know. There's no way around that. If you want to remember a way to remember an opening, a body, and a close, which every speech must have, think of a song. A song has a theme or a verse. It has an opening, a body, and close. So do speeches. They both have the same thing. The difference is the flow. It's very easy to remember a song. Do you ever notice you get a song, get it down pretty quick? Because the music ties it in. If we could only apply music to a speech, oh, it would be so great. I've tried it. It doesn't work. I have tried and tried. Clarity. Lose the jargon or lose your audience. What I'm saying is I've read books and listen to speeches where people ramble on and on about one little subject that we got the point on. And it really helps me to write, because now when I go to write a chapter in a book, I don't have any jargon. It's solid, good stuff. Same thing with Carl writes in his book. Toastmasters were huge in helping that come about. Slow down when you're going to give a speech contest, because you have 6.5 minutes. You say I'm wrong, it's 7.5, right? Tell you what, if you win the contest, the audience gets bigger at the next one. You've got to let those words go deeper into the audience. By the time you get to district, you may have 5 to 1,000 people in the room. You tell the joke, it has to go all the way back. They have to understand it, come all the way back before you can start again. The clock is getting eaten up. So start with 6:30 in the first place at the very contest level. You're still qualified because you went over the 4.5 minutes. So remember that. It's very important that you don't ever cut yourself short. There was an international contest lost because a man went over by 3 seconds. Can you imagine all that work? And I mean, there is work when you're going for all the marbles. Humor. Do not start with a joke. Start with funny, that's fine, but with a joke, no. Because it takes away from the subject matter altogether. And it may not relate as much as it should to what you're saying. When you do have humor, if you use one-liners, tie the one-liner to a story. Because if you constantly use one-liners, they're going to know this isn't speech, it's one-liners. They want to hear that one line that taps into that story or nails that little story. So use it in that form. Say it with style. Dress the part. And we all say, okay, dress nicely, wear a suit, tie when we're up here. Unless you're doing something that requires some characterization, like Carson did this morning. That was a great job. I loved it. Nice way. Right with the headset, right, he got our attention. And we felt like we were in the race. That's all the evaluation I'm going to do. I'll leave it to. I'm not saying that to change. Command presence. 2 years ago, there was a girl who was in the contest. What was last year? She stepped onto the stage to do a table topic, and I said to the person sitting next to me, she's going to win. How could you possibly know when she stepped onto the stage she's going to win? Because the way she stepped onto the stage, she didn't step up to the stage, but she went right out to the very center of that stage and had everybody's attention. She did win. Matter of fact, she went all the way to win district. And she did, in that particular moment, she won the contest for both the speech and table topics. I was hoping she was competing this year, but she's already governor, so she can't. But she'll be back because she's going to be a tremendous speaker. Movement makes a big difference. I worked with a fellow Toastmaster in here, her, a few years ago, and she spoke, but she seemed so stiff that something was not coming out. It took me forever to figure it out. And one day I was talking to her, I said, well, let's rehearse your speech. And she did a couple things like that, and everything changed. The problem is she was doing this. Just standing there and speaking. We might as well stay back here if we're going to do that. But when she made some moves, everything changed. And she began to win contests. But it took me forever to figure out what was wrong. The speech was great. Good story, good content, opening, body pose, all of it was there, but it was those small little movements that did not exist in the speech. But do dress like a professional when you're up here for two reasons. One, your audience will think you're a professional. Two, you'll think you're a professional. You'll feel better about yourself when you look the part. Think about that. It's very, very important. And don't worry about reinventing yourself. It is so much fun. I've done it so many times, it makes my head spin. Sometimes it works. Should I repeat that? Sometimes it works. And sometimes it just doesn't work. But look at Madonna. She's been at the top of her game since she started because she reinvents herself. She has no fear of going places with what she's doing. Rocky, look at $200,000 for a movie to start his first movie. Plus he had to throw in his dog. There's a whole story behind that. But all of those things were people who were willing to take a chance. The slightest difference can make everything in the world. But if you're going to go into a speech contest, one of the most important things you do is get yourself a mentor.
I'm so sorry.
I
just started listening and completely forgot.
Get yourself a mentor.
Tim, I'm so sorry.
And when you're in the club, and you've got people in the club commenting now, pull one mentor. Don't try and use two or three because the opinions can eat you up and throw it out. So those are
That's my
a
fault.
few things I've humiliated on this morning.
there
And I
it
hope
is.
you take something. If I can help you in any way, let me know. Mr. Cook.
Thank you, Charlie. I apologize. I got so mesmerized by what Tim was saying, going, I'm going to write